Hey guys, just bringing you the first weekly report, and this is going to be more of a systems check. Obviously, we're not looking for a ton of any conversions or any, there's not going to be a ton of meaningful data that we could even optimize the campaign. So this is more of a, are we off to a good start? Do we at least have the foundations in place, and is everything working? So I call it more of a systems check. So if I go into our campaign, that Susanna launched. Yep, we're about a week in. So here's the high level results. We have $320 spent, 25, almost 26,000 impressions, 141 clicks, $2.27 cost per click. We do start out leveraging the audience network, which for you guys, we might talk about that. So normally, okay, so yeah, it's spending a little bit too much of the budget. So I'm actually going to dial this back. And what it is basically, obviously you guys are very familiar with this. It's kind of LinkedIn's trusted display network. It probably might actually overlap with some of your own display that you're doing for programmatic. And it's heavily curated. Like Susanna has taken out, these are all the excluded categories, so it's only supposed to be running on a handful of categories, and it should not be taking up the majority of the spend. It's usually for our tier 1 accounts, if the ad spend is under 2,500, it is usually a good idea to use the display network as a supplement. So what I would do here for the time being is I'm actually going to duplicate this. We'll call this one on LinkedIn. We'll use all the same targeting, all the same ads. We'll actually disable the audience network on this one and use this one for the majority of the spend. So let me launch this. And then I'll adjust the ad budget real quick. All right, so $35 a day was your overall budget. So we're actually going to go the one that is allowed to leverage the audience network. We'll reduce to $10 a day. And we'll put this one at 25. So the majority of the ad spend will go here. Now that's a good point. Like, since you guys actually do use display networks, and I visited your website and have been retargeted with some clever ads, you might opt just to turn this one off. And the big difference is the audience network, like I said, is a supplemental kind of display that helps us reach our targeted group, even if they're off of LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has its own trusted network, but I think some of that is probably going to overlap with what you're already doing. But ours, yours, I think might be more retargeting display ads, where these are cold targeting ones. So I think it makes sense to keep it, but that could be something you guys talk about. The other, obviously the big difference is the one with audience network is going to have higher impression, higher click-through rate. It's going to be lower cost per click, and it's going to be lower quality traffic. But not all these people are active on LinkedIn, so it is nice to have that extra supplement. And then the on LinkedIn campaign is going to be higher quality traffic at a higher price. We'll have to do more optimizing on that to get the cost per click down. Usually using both of them in a combination is actually a good idea for us, or at least a start to see where the data takes us. So that looks like it's off to a good start. I went ahead and split that out. The next thing that I'm actually going to look at is I actually see that we have some engagement already. So I think some of these ads, was it reactions? Just a couple of likes, I think. And maybe it's from, I don't know, our team, your team, we'll see. CEO at Blue. So this is just little social interactions actually will help improve the cost per click and the click-through rate. So usually as soon as a couple of these ads start getting some likes and some comments, their cost per click starts to improve dramatically over the others. So let's see if that is the case. So this one here, 0.63, and then it becomes is it getting the engagement because it's a better ad and has higher cost per click-through rate, or is it now getting way better click-through rate because it already got some engagement? Either way, what will tend to happen is these ones with the engagement will accumulate more and more faster, and with that extra social proof, they'll kind of pull away from the pack and start absorbing most of the ad spend. So we'll leave those like that. It's too early to optimize, but yeah, just looking real quickly at the click-through rates, this is the top performing ad here, and this is the lowest performing ad, but there's really not any big difference between cost per click for us to worry about optimizing them. This one is going to have the more dramatic, since it's only allowed to run on LinkedIn in the feed, it's going to have a more dramatic variance of cost per click. So that's the one that we're going to focus more on optimizing, and that's the one that's really going to tell us, what's doing better or not. So next, the other thing I wanted to just talk to you guys about is conversion tracking. So the insights tag, actually, let me check that. As far as I can tell, the insights tag is building. So it's seeing your site visitors. It's collecting that. We'll be able to use that for retargeting. It's also collecting any single image, anyone who actually clicks or engages with our ads. So already, we have 100 people in that group. So those are the things, and company page visitors. So people that interact with the ads, people that visit your website, and people that visit your company page. Those three audiences all are working and collecting. So that's one thing I always check. And then the last thing I'm going to cover here for the systems check is conversion tracking. So currently right now, the only conversion that we're able to track, I would call this more of an intent click, is if they visit your contact us page. So on your website, if they actually click get started and they visit the contact us page, we've set this URL up as a conversion. We only gave it a $1 value, I think. We gave it a $1 value, so I just call that an intent click. So it's more valuable than just a website visit, but it's not an actual conversion. I think when I did this before, so I'm going to do this now just so I have it on camera, but I think when we did this, what I realized is that it doesn't take us to a separate page. So there's not like a URL that we can track. So what we can do, if you'd like, is two things. What I would really suggest is this would be really great for us to be able to track for conversions. And maybe on your website, you already have, maybe on Google Tag Manager, you're tracking these form submissions that way. So the only way that we can track that for LinkedIn conversions is if one of two things happen. Either one, if someone actually submits this, you have a redirect URL in here where it just sends them to a thank you page. It could send them like just back to this page with, here's like a little UTM hack. You could put question mark and then thank you on there so that it just reloads this page, but it gives us a URL that we can track. It doesn't change the destination. So either a URL that they get pushed to upon conversion, so we can track that as URL, or we can create a image pixel and give you the code, and you can set up in Google Tag Manager to fire when someone clicks this button. But that's not the best way to track it because they could click this button without filling out anything and it would fire. So you kind of want to attach that to like an actual event that, is tied to this submission. A thank you page is the easiest one, or, this little URL hack where you just do question mark and thank you. And then we can say any URL that contains thank you. If they hit that page, we know that they submitted a form. That would be really good on our end because, again, it would be nice for us to be able to optimize the campaign based on what's getting the valuable actions that you want, and for us to just measure, how we're doing and what campaign, what ad, what creative is driving the best results. So that is the system checks. Everything looks good, except it would be great to get a conversion tracking set up here. That's it.